Roll call.
Mr. Alvaro? Present. Ms. Calderon?
Here.
Mrs. DeCosta?
Present.
Ms. Carpenter?
Here.
Mr. Lombardi?
Here.
Mr. Lunam?
Yes.
Ms. Ryan?
Here.
Ms. Dunn?
Here.
And Ms. Gomez?
Here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of
Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Board statements. In accordance with the provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law, the Milford Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof in the record, New Milford Public Library, New Milford Borough Hall, and the main office of all New Milford Public Schools. The board announces that under its long-standing policy, it would not discuss in public any comments made by members of the public concerning individual staff members. At this time, please be advised that all cell phones and electronic devices are to be turned off. Meetings of the board are open to the public, and all members of the community should feel free to participate. Before coming to the board, the chain of command should be followed. There are two portions of the meeting reserved for comments from the public, the first at the beginning of the meeting for agenda items only, and the second at the end of the meeting for other items. Issues raised by the public may or may not be responded to by the board, but all comments will be considered. The board requests that all members of the public be mindful of the rights of other individuals when speaking. Due to confidentiality and legal rights afforded by the state of New Jersey, members of the public are asked to not speak negatively or in a derogatory manner about any employee of the board or any student. Okay, we're going to start off our meeting with a very special presentation of incompetent jurors.
If any board members would like to join us over here to get an audience view, you are welcome to come over.
I can arrange that for next time.
I didn't know what I have to show.
Oh, you want to be on the jury?
I do. Well, this is a great experience.
I didn't be on a jury for years.
Oh my God,
I get rejected. Boy.
No, it's just a better view this time. Well, welcome. Thank you all so much for letting us do a little preview of our show, 12 Incompetent Jurors. If our jurors can come and take a seat on their spots, I'll explain a little bit of our show. So 12 Incompetent Jurors is a comedic spin off of 12 Angry Men. In our case here, the defendant, Donald Pleats, played by Dominic over there, is accused of stealing half a dozen cats from a yard sale. So our jurors, that have been called from all different walks of life, are here to discuss this case. During the scene that we're going to show for you today, they are going over their evidence. While in the script that it says that these videos that they're showing are just off-screen voices, we thought it would be really cool to involve some of our extra members of our cast to bring a live performance of these evidence videos for you. So, also one of our jurors is currently out sick, so standing in for juror number 3 will be me. All right, are we ready to watch this thing?
Yeah.
Hello, and welcome to the Linus Family Yard Sale Extravaganza.
Oh God, bud, give that stupid thing away to help me?
This is worst movie. All they do is it's awful.
This isn't a movie. This is evidence. It's not meant to be entertaining.
Yes, movie. How can movie be good without tigers?
This is important.
I need smoke. Is it okay if I smoke?
No,
I'm gonna blow smoke out the side of the mouth. See, it goes that way.
no, that's not any better.
What? It goes that way. No! Stigmata!
All right, here it comes.
And the final item for sale is the litter of Miss Abigail Mumsey.
Does anyone else think it's weird he gave his cat first and last night?
Yeah, that's what it's doing.
Well, you'll be
It's only weird if the cat walks on 2 legs. That's how you know. That's how. Oh, it looks like we have our first customer. It's Harold from down the block.
Donald! Donald, please, I tell you this every time!
Sorry. Looking for anything in particular?
Maybe that chair. Way back over there.
Chair? Do we have a chair for sale back there?
No, we're not saying any chairs. Not back there, or is he? Is he talking about kids?
Harold, those cats are for sale.
He's talking to his car. Oh my God, he's taking cats.
Harold, get back here.
My name is Donald Please. I told you, my name is Donald Please.
I think his name is Donald Plates.
Oh, you think so?
Well,
What?
you're the only one that has a problem with this. Sorry, I'm in the wrong.
As you'll recall, I am not the only person who has a problem with a potentially innocent man to jail.
Hello.
Yeah.
That sounded so great.
Oh!
And I may not have a problem with this evidence just because I've had doubts about other elements of the prosecution's case.
Good. So we're all in agreement that this is definitive evidence of Mr. Pleats' guilt.
That.
Yeah. Not quite.
Come on.
Wow, the flip. You just said you didn't have any problem with the video.
I said I may not have a problem. By saying may, it also implies the exact opposite.
All right, can you get on with this?
I would like to show you a different video, if I could. One that takes you away to an extraordinary land where dinosaurs walk with men.
Are you making the argument that the video we just watched was somehow computer animated? Because if that's what you're trying to say here, I think we can all agree that's preposterous.
Yeah. I'm not trying to prove that, no.
Good.
Or I guess I should say I may not be trying to prove that. If I may.
Is this movie going to have any attractive people in it?
What do you mean by attractive?
Like hot guys and stuff.
Well, I think this movie will mostly just have dinosaurs in it.
Blech! Gross.
Ugly. Well, there are different species. I'm not so sure that.
Just tell me what the hotties, come on.
There's not going to be any
But just tell me, okay?
Okay. Yeah.
Now, I want you all to pay close attention to the film, especially to the dinosaurs. Now, I don't expect you all to believe that this dinosaur is real.
No, it's too loud. You like it hiss. It's tricky in that way.
Sure. But what I would like to point out is that this movie used two types of special effects to create the T-Rex. Most of the shots were done with an animatronic life-size replica created by the Stan Winston Studios, while only roughly 20% of the shots were digitally created using George Lucas's industrial light and magic. The clip I just showed you is an example of the life-size replica. Are we all in agreement?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
The clip I just showed you was a mix of both digital and practical effects. The first 5 seconds were of the animatronic dinosaur, while the last 10, when the dinosaur starts running, were digitally created. Observe.
How old is this thing?
It's an ancient prehistoric.
Alright, let's please go on.
If you like what you saw here, then you should come see the full show, 12 and Company show. Come buy tickets Thursday, Friday, Saturday at 7 p.m. Not a.m.
That would be pretty
NMHSmusical.com.
This is the kind of fun you get to have as a tour, you know? Exactly. You can have your own dinosaur costume and everything.
No, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it.
On the flip. Watch it.
Hey, guys,
Got it. It's time for it.
What the Bjork?
You guys ready? Okay, we're gonna start off with the superintendent of schools report. Mr. Gillespie?
All right, first I want to thank the fall drama for coming in and putting on that performance. Never thought, my third or fourth Board of Ed meeting, a dinosaur would come through the door twice. But it's a great opportunity for the kids. I thank Dan, Kimberly, and Gianulis for allowing them to come in and taking time out of their practice schedule to do so. It added a little bit, and we have to remember why we're here. Like, we're here for the students. So they clearly had a lot of fun. All right, superintendent's report under board action. So I'm seeking board approval of the October-November HIB report. So the breakdown is as follows. New Milford High School, there were 4 HIB 338 forms submitted. 2 HIBs were not forwarded for investigation under principal determination. One HIB was investigated by the ABS and was unfounded. It did not meet the criteria. DEO, there were 2 HIB 338 forms submitted. 2 HIBs were investigated by the ABS and were both unfounded. Berkeley, there were 3 HIB 338 forms submitted. 1 HIB was not forwarded for investigation. 2 HIBs were investigated by the ABS. 1 was founded and 1 was unfounded. In Gibbs, there were 2 HIB 338 forms submitted. 1 HIB was not forwarded under principal determination and 1 investigation was unfounded. I just want to point out at the last county meeting, in Bergen County, HIBs are up 500% from previous years. So as much as this may seem like a lot, we are still doing okay. Another surrounding district, I talked to them, they have 38 HIBs already. So we're doing okay. Listen, we always want to get better, but just to keep it in perspective. I'm also seeking board approval for the September or October suspension report. New Milford High School, 2 students were suspended for a total of 5 days. 1 student served 1 day of in-school suspension and 2 days of out-of-school suspension. 1 student served 1 day of in-school suspension and 1 day of out-of-school suspension. DEO, 5 students were suspended for a total of 9 days. 1 student served 2 days of out-of-school suspension. Another student served 1 day of out-of-school suspension. 1 student served 1 day of in-school suspension. Another student, 1 day of in-school suspension. And 1 student served 4 days of out-of-school suspension. Berkeley and Gibbs, 0 suspensions. Other things on the work agenda I'm going to be seeking approval for is the NJ CUSAC District Performance Review, or DPR. So we are in a CUSAC year every 3 years. We are blessed with this. And CUSAC is a system used by New Jersey Department of Education to monitor and evaluate all public school districts. The system assesses districts in 5 areas: instruction and program, fiscal, governance, operations, personnel. And districts that score at least 80 points in each of the sections is considered high performing by the State Board of Education. As part of this process, those districts being monitored have to self-evaluate under a District Performance Review, DPR. A committee of stakeholders review the DPR to determine if the district is meeting compliance requirements and submit the self-evaluation to the county. Later on in that year, county reps will come in and visit our school district, and they will judge us based on our DPR and say whether we are compliant or not compliant based on our evidence. So we have no real score at this time. We just basically do a self-audit, then they come in later. So I'm looking for approval for the DPR because on Thursday, I have to submit it all to NJ DOE homeroom and upload 3 different documents. I'm also seeking approval for the 24-25 School Safety and Security Plan Annual Review Statement of Assurance submission to the county office. A school safety and security plan is just what it says. It's a comprehensive plan that outlines the procedures and strategies for keeping public schools safe and secure. The plan must meet minimum state requirements, which ours does: emergency preparedness, lockdown, evacuation, threat assessment. We collaborate with OEM and law enforcement, all the time. I actually saw Ms. Gomez and Ms. Dunn at the tabletop we did with OEM to practice our lockdown procedures. We have a great relationship, and that's why our schools are so safe, predominantly because of a relationship with the police, and also because of our lockdown procedures with the lens system and all the security doors. I'd like to seek approval to adopt the third revision of the standard operations procedure, but I'm going to leave that up to Mr. Watson to discuss in detail, since him and his team did an excellent and thorough job creating it. Under personnel, I'm seeking approval for hiring of Kimberly Corzelius, who was just here putting on the show. So we are hiring her in place of Jane Schwartz, who is retiring. It's fantastic because Kimberly was a student and protege of Mrs. Schwartz, so it's kind of like the passing of the torch. And we're also requesting that you approve her for the musical director, as well as we're bringing that back to alumni. I'm also seeking approval for the appointment of 6 periods to fill a special education maternity leave for 4 months. So let me explain this real quickly. We did put it out. We have a maternity leave in special education in the high school. We knew it was coming. We advertised. We actually interviewed a couple of candidates. None either met our standard or did not have the proper certification. So the school put its heads together with the liaison, special ed director, and the principal, and came up with a great idea to pay 6 periods. I always worry about 6 periods with the price, but when you break it down, it's pretty cost effective. And I broke it down in the board notes for you so you can kind of see it. We extrapolate out. So it's a great move. And the nice thing is, the 6 periods, you don't have to, get someone onboarded, worry about them meeting people, how they're going to mesh with the culture of the school. It's all people we know and trust already. So learning will continue unabated, and when the maternity leave comes back, those teachers just lose their 6th period and we go back to normal. So it's really streamlined. I'm seeking approval for academic support staff to work on an extended school day at David Owens Middle School. So with the use of title funds, teachers will pretty much target students in need, and they will give them extra seat time, whether it be ELA or math. This can be done after school, before school, or actually during lunch for increments of time. Under finance, I'm seeking approval for the Mindspring Developmental Services contract. So what the Mindspring does, this is not anything we have to pay for right now, it's per diem. So when we have to get a student tested, basically it's a neuropsych that we would use it for. We cannot do that in-house. It's expensive and it takes a long time. We do not have the certified personnel for it. So we would send that out of house, and it just gives us different options of who to choose. We have a relationship with these people. Their director, who was starting it, actually left who we used to use, and so we're started this company, so we're very comfortable with her. That's why we're putting this one on it as well. If you read the contract, pretty much every other thing, there's like 10 other objects that we could purchase from them. We can pretty much do all in-house. Sometimes we do not, if it's court mediated, that we have to get independent, IQ test or something, not from our people, that's when we use it as well. But 99% of the stuff we do in-house, it's just really for that neuropsych. Under policy, I am seeking approval of 2 policies. Of particular importance is the spectator code of conduct for all districts, sanctioned under the NJSA. Have to adopt this by September. Mr. Albro of the policy committee, I'm sure, will share more about that. Otherwise, I look forward to talking about the district happenings at the regular session tomorrow night. That is it for my report.
Thank you. Any questions? I see Lauren is not here, so acting business administrator report, Bruce Watson.
Okay, thank you, and good evening, everybody. As we did last month, we gave you both the work session and the regular session agendas. This way you can look and see what's coming up, and we can talk about it tonight. Hopefully in the future, maybe you can combine them and it'll be a little easier, as you go forward on this thing for everybody, but just a thought. I only have 2 major items just to share with you. The first item is the roofing projects on the high school and on Gibbs. Gibbs is totally done, everything's finished, passed full inspection, so we're good there. The high school, we did the punch list last week. I spent the morning on the roof with a bunch of people walking around a high school roof and certified the punch list. It's quite nice looking down. It makes you feel like you're special, you know, you're looking down a global look. And so what comes out of this is obviously the frustrations working with the state and the SDA. They are the office that is working with the ROD grants and going to give us our aid. Very happy and pleased to report tonight that we did get our first aid payment, which I put right there on the agenda for you. It's a little over $500,000. The breakdown is that we are still looking to get another $780,000 roughly on the high school roof, and then we're looking for $176,000 on Gibbs. So we're going to get that money back. We're returning it to capital reserve, and I started the process of the third RIDE grant. Now that I know that money is coming into us, we can use that money when we go to the mechanical upgrades in the auditorium. So I had them certify the start. I mean, there's a whole process here. It's like walking up a step ladder. You have to do this. A lot of it is redundant, but they make you do this. So we are at one final submission, and we are at the other one is 65 to 75% submission. And we should get in about another 2 weeks our second payment for the high school, and also the first payment, total payment for Gibbs. So I think within the next 2 to 3 weeks, we're going to have a lot of money coming back into your capital reserve account. The other thing I'd like to share with you is Superintendent spoke about the QSAC process, and I've been through many of them in many different districts, and they are quite encompassing to say the least, but they take a lot of time. In Indicator 2 under the finance area, the monitors are going to look for our manual called SOP, with the acronym for Standard Operating Procedures and Internal Controls. Very important. This has been updated since 2017. So we took it with the office staff, and I want to yell out, give a shout out to my office staff. The ladies in the office did a remarkable job. This is almost 160 pages long. We went through every single page. We've updated where it needed to be updated. We have all departments involved, special ed, technology, buildings and grounds, facilities, finance, etc. We based all of the changes based on our actual operating of internal controls. It's real. This is what we're doing. The whole purchasing section has been replaced. It's all updated to the very latest law, code, Title 18A, 6A, all of it. And again, the credit goes to the people in the office. I just want to say thank you to the ladies in my office or in the business office. Not my office too much longer, but anyway, they've been great. And we have that done, and so I feel like when they come in and look at this, this will be an example to be shared with other districts. I've been in many districts, and I think this is one of the most complete internal control manuals that you'll see.
You can see the pride that they have in it.
Yeah, they do. We worked as a nice team, all of us, and they just did a great job, really. So give them kudos for that. And so we got a lot of good things happening. There's a number of other things that we're working on. The ESSA report, which, as you know, is really the baseline of setting in and getting our state aid. We don't know what the state aid formulas are. As to the law, has not been replaced yet. They're probably not going to announce the new state aid law probably till, I would say, end of February, early March. And we'll be jumping on that. Every district will be dying to see. They did update timelines for your mid-year review of budgets. Now, usually you wait to February 1 and we do a mid-year review of our budget. We tell everybody, you know, tell the state, the county, everybody's asking, here's where we are, here's what we're spending. Well, they wanted that now, a lot of the questions. So we are doing a lot of that right now. It will be done before I leave. However, until our audit is finished, which we have not had yet, they started let's see, today is, they started it last Friday. They will be coming on site next week. So once the audit is finished, then we can finish the mid-year review, because it's asking questions about our starting points and various things. Now, I called the executive county superintendent and basically shared with him that, you know, you're asking people this, but the audit's not up. I could give you my best estimate on these issues, like where's our capital reserve number? I had that, I figured it out. You wanted, no, I want the audit, so okay, fine, so we're gonna have to wait for the audit. But the office is very busy. Soon as Stephanie comes back, she will start. She's asked me to hold off the new budget process, so I haven't started that. We're trying to do everything else, so when she comes back, she can hit the budget right away with everybody, and I think that's going to work out well. So
The fact that Mr. Watson just said, it's on camera, the mid-year budget review, you think is going to be done before you leave, is pretty remarkable.
well, it'll be totally done, but it'll be 85% done until we get the audit, so you'll be fine. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much.
Does anybody have any questions? Stephanie?
No, I just wanted to say this. I don't know if this is going to be your last meetings with us, but I just wanted to say thank you for coming on as our intern and for all of the hard work that you've done and being such a team player. Thank you.
There you go. Yeah, tomorrow night's the last one. I'm done Friday. Friday's my last day. Stephanie's due to come back Monday.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming back again.
Yeah.
This is your second stint with us.
My pleasure. I came
Always
back.
welcome back.
I came back because when Stephanie called me, I had originally said, no, I can't do it, because I had some other things lined up. And then she called me back again, and she said, I can't get anybody. And I said, okay. I said, I'll come and help you. But the only reason why I said yes was because the last time I was here, which was, 5 years ago, the people in this district are so good to work with. They're kind, they're professional, and the board was great when I was here, and you're also great. I'll leave you with that note. I don't know you intimately, professionally, as much as I knew the old board, the other board, but you seem to be on that same pathway. So I agreed to come back because of that. I've been asked to go to a number of other districts, which I turned down because of just the opposite of those compliments. So I'll just share that with you. You should be proud that it's a really a fine district. It's a very good district.
I appreciate you saying that we're just like the other, good as the other board. Tomorrow would have been really awkward.
Some of us are still here because of the previous board. Just kidding.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Really do.
Okay. Does anyone have any liaison board committee reports? No?
I was going to say that tomorrow.
Okay, that's fine. Anyone else?
It's riveting. It's riveting.
Not to push you, but usually our thought, we had said we would do the reports on the work session in case there was a decision or anything we had to make tomorrow. So is there anything specific that you want everybody to know based on what we're going to have to vote on tomorrow?
As far as the policy, absolutely.
Yeah.
We have two policies up for first reading tomorrow, and they're both kind of revisions of existing policies. The first policy is 6620, petty cash. Petty cash is basically, it's kind of an antiquated practice of having a certain amount of cash in each school building or department to have for, emergencies. And I guess coming from the administrator, Mr. Galasso, Mr. Watson, probably Dr. Kuchar, because it's antiquated, it's really not necessary anymore. So the policy is being proposed to be revised to basically remove the petty cash, Mr. Galasso, correct me if I'm wrong, from all the school buildings. The only program would be the WINS program.
Correct.
Because sometimes they have an urgent need that can't wait for a requisition right away. So that's really the only change to that policy. We're basically striking out, I believe the policy it's very old, so I don't even know if you might laugh when you see the dollar totals of what $50 can buy from now. So they're being struck out and basically leaving the WINS program. If policy 9162 I believe used to be under the athletic code of conduct, and it's sort of being revised because the former policy did mention consequences for less than desirable behavior as a spectator at an athletic or school event. This policy is in line with what the NJSIA, the athletic body, is looking for, and we're fortunate that our own athletic director, Mr. Riccadelli, was like the spearhead in Bergen County with other ADs to put this program together. And what the policy committee likes about it, and what I like about it, is that it's a great deal more specific in terms of what the expectations are for behavior, rather than giving generalities. And also, the old policy just simply said banned. Everybody's banned. This policy, has consequences, but it's more than just not being able to attend an event. And in the first tiers of offenses, if you will, it's not terminal. You're not going to be gone forever, but there are some things that you have to do to recoup your right, if you will, or privilege to attend an event. So that policy about the first reading, I do encourage the board to read it, because it does, my concern when we read it as a group was what we had legally. I even said in our meeting, in a restaurant I could say no shirt, no shoes, no service. What we have legally to say, you can't come in. And I think this policy, and of course, the way life is today, we talked about, Mr. Luna mentioned about, Mr. Galasso mentioned about 500% more HIV. Unfortunately, that behavior sometimes exists in participants, spectators, and athletic events. So this is a very big policy, and the state is imploring all the districts that have athletic or interscholastic programs to adopt this policy. Some policies are personalized. Mr. Galasso, correct me if I'm wrong, we're talking about home events from consequences, or we talk about home and away. We had discussed whether if a Hasbrook Heights person was banned coming to our place, what's our place? How do we know who it is? So not going to hold a poster of a person.
So we kept it, so if they're suspended like 2 games, and it's like a home game, obviously they're suspended for us, away game, they're going to be suspended as well for our policy. Other policies, they have made it so it's only home games. I guess because when we discussed, you brought it to light pretty much that, well, unless the AD calls us, how do we know that that person is suspended? So it brings up a great point. We're hoping the ADs work together on this. I mean, they just had an NJIC meeting today in New Milford. The whole entire, 30 district of teams came to meet in New Milford today, and those things are being discussed so they can work together. Our fear was this: if we suspend someone for 1 game after their first offense, and the next game's an away game, they just did the behavior, and then because it's not a home game, they get to go to the away game. It seemed like I would do that in the classroom, postpone a disciplinary behavior or consequence. It seems weird to postpone it then, so that's why we went by that. Obviously, if it doesn't work out and we have issues, we can always go back to the drawing table, but the ADs have to be intimately involved in this and communicating this for it to make it work. I think they are invested in it because they're the front line of who's experiencing a lot of these spectator issues. Also, the NJSIA gave us money to purchase signage correlating with this code of conduct as well. So that has been purchased and distributed, and that will be hung up as well.
That concludes my report. Thank you.
Mr. Glasser just touched on what my question was about signage. And so will that signage be posted like on all athletic fields and in all gyms in the district, or like where do we plan on posting?
So right now, I think we were given money for 2. So one by the track and field, the main football field, and the main gym. And then we will look to purchase others.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Tony.
Yep.
Any correspondence?
No.
Okay. So agenda items for discussion. Review the tentative agenda for the regular meeting to be held on September 18th. Any questions regarding review of board action? Or comments? No? Any questions or comments for review of educational programs and curriculum?
Never mind. I jumped. I'm very personal.
Does anyone have any questions for that? Okay. Tony, a question for personnel?
Yeah, P242577, approval of resignations. Can we find out what their position was?
Yep. So Ludmilla is a Berkeley para, Molkenberg is a Berkeley special education teacher, and John Futcher is a building and grounds custodian.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have any other questions? Okay, any questions or comments regarding finance and facilities? Any questions or comments for athletics co-curriculum? Okay, any questions regarding the, well, we already did policy, but policy? Any old business? New business? Tony?
I'm wondering, is there going to be a high school open house this year?
Yes, we are in discussion with the principal on setting a date. So I will follow up with all of them.
Is that going to be in the spring, you think, at this point?
They'll be more towards the spring, closer to when kids start declaring to go as a last ditch effort to maybe keep them.
Open to the public, as outlined in the Milford Board of Education bylaw 0167, each statement made by a participant shall be limited to 3 minutes. I seek a motion. Paige, seconded by John. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any questions from the public? Okay, I seek a motion to close the public. Stephanie, seconded by Tony. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Board requests for any additional information? Okay, we'll be going into close and not taking action after that. It is hereby moved that the Board of Education adjourn into executive session in accordance with the provisions of the Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231 PL, for the purpose of discussion and consideration of matters pertaining to the following subject: student matter. The minutes of executive session will be made available to the public when the need for confidentiality no longer exists. I seek a motion to go into close.
Motion.
Paige, seconded by Nicole. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Thank you.